Hey everybody, welcome to the Killjoy Jake YouTube channel. I am joined here by Micheline Pitt-Norman and R.H. Norman from VHS Halloween. They directed the segment Home Haunt right at the very end. How are you two doing tonight?
We're so good.
Doing
Thanks for
great.
having us come on your show.
Yeah, very happy to be here.
Thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate you. So before we talk a little bit about the new entry of VHS, I'm curious if you guys had a favorite segment from this franchise before coming aboard the latest entry.
Oh man, there's so many good ones. I mean, David Bruckner.
We're biased. Bruckner's a buddy of ours, and it's a filmmaker that we admire quite a bit. And so we, Amateur Night is really great. We even, as people who've seen it, we homaged it at the end. So that one's best. I mean, everyone says Safe Haven, but and it is obviously undeniably, one of the all-star ones. But for us, it's kind of like Amateur Night just really hits all the beats.
Yeah, I mean, Bruckner's so talented. We're big fans. I mean, there's so many incredible directors that have come out of VHS, but that one was probably my favorite out of all of them.
Biased, it's a great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I some of the less celebrated ones who maybe deserve a little more credit. I really like what's the one, the Empty Wake. Yeah, I like that one just because of the atmosphere is so different from every other VHS segment. It really, stands apart and has kind of a really chilling, like smaller stakes kind of like moment. So I like that one a lot, and I don't hear it get enough credit.
I like Justin Martinez's one that he did in Beyond.
Yeah, Live and Let Dive.
That is insane. Like what he pulled off is incredible, and it's such a fun, wild segment. That one's also another personal fave. And also Justin is a friend and incredible, and probably one of the most important people that's involved in all the VHS segments. I mean, installments, because he does VFX.
Without Justin Martinez, like working crazy hours on this thing, you'd all be like throwing tomatoes at us. They would all be terrible.
Yeah,
like he's really great. And favorite installment. I mean, we're biased, but actually, just as fans, even if you take like Home Haunt out, I really do like VHS Halloween the best. We're very proud of everything that all of our anthology mates have accomplished with it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so with you on that one. I recently ranked all the films, and I'm just like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but entry number 8's my favorite one ever. I would never say that about Friday the 13th, but I am with VHS.
was that the one where they said he was going to New York, but he was on a boat and then in like one alleyway?
Well, he's in Manhattan for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, like the last 10 minutes. Yeah.
It's not like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, where like you could argue that is a fantastic Freddy film. Yeah, I agree with you.
But the uppercut on the top of the roof was pretty good though, where he knocked the dude's head off. Like I did like that. That was pretty good. But yeah, but we're big fans of VHS Halloween. It was fun because we got to watch it kind of as fans. Like we worked in isolation on our segment. Almost all of the directors did.
We didn't know what each other were doing. We didn't see each other's work. Like it was just when we got to see the finished film,
it was like, all together. So we just watched it,
as
the same thing as you would have, or anybody else who's just watching it on a screener in the theater.
It's such a cool experience just to kind of go in blind.
Yeah, and everybody did a really great job. We felt I feel like that. What I'm proud of about the movie is that it feels very, very consistent from segment to segment to segment, and I think that's
everyone has their own distinct voice and style. And I love that there's even like some stuff in there that feels like one of the first original VHS installments. It's like very dark and gritty, and then you have like bombastic, wild stuff. Like I think it has something for everybody, and I think that's what a good anthology should always do.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about VHS that doesn't really get talked about a lot, and this is both its biggest strength and its weakness in some people's eyes. It is the only horror franchise, it's a popular one, that includes every single subgenre of horror. It's all inclusive of every single subgenre of horror. And there's always going to be a fan that thinks everything needs to be dark and serious like Kid Print, or more wacky and Adult Swim like Fun Size. And a lot of times people miss it. There's something that's intended to have something for everyone and to at least give you well executed versions of all the other subgenres, whether they're your particular favorite or not. And I think that's where the franchise really shines.
Well, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. I'm constantly praising this series for just basically being the sandbox of horror where like people like you can just do whatever you want. And I like, that's what I love. I feel like, and I'm not in Hollywood or anything like that, but just from an outside perspective, I feel like we live in this age where a lot of creativity is stifled. Like it's trying to be put into a box and do it this way because more people will like it or whatever. But like VHS, you can kind of just do whatever you want. You can just kind of, here's your weirdest idea. Let's put it on the big screen and see what happens.
So long as you can do it with the $2 and the $5.
You get, as long as you can do it in 5 days with $2, you're
Yes.
good.
Well, that kind of leads perfectly right into my next question here. I'm so curious about the creative process of this series. Like, do you go into this with like a pitch for something, or do they kind of give you like, hey, here's the topic for the next movie, come up with something? I'm curious what that's like.
Know the theme, and now that they're doing themes, they tell everyone the theme, and then they asked for a few pitches, like a few ideas, and we came with them with 4, and Home Haunt was one of those 4.
And that was the ultimate one they gravitated. And we specifically also got different tones for all 4 of our pitches in case, because we really didn't know what other people were coming to them with. And so the first thing we said is like, okay, we're not going to do one with any trick-or-treating, because we just assumed that everyone was going to come and do trick-or-treating. And we're like, we want to do something very Americana Halloween. Like, our goal coming into this was, can we make the most bleedingly Halloween segment on here? Because that's what people are going to show up and want to see. And so with our pitches, we really tried to do that, and there was a mix of like really dark ones. Some of them were more like kid print that we pitched. Some of them were more fantastical, kind of like Grummy. The thing that we did before this has some similarities with Home Haunt.
I will say we were the first people that got to pitch, and we were the first people hired, and we were the first people to turn in our script. So I guess we didn't think about that at the time. It's like, oh, well, whatever we did would have been the first one. So we could have done Trick or Treaters, but we just assumed that that was going to be something that would already be covered. So we definitely just kind of were hoping that they picked Home Haunt because it was the one that we thought would be the most fun to do. And all anyone would say when they read the script was how ambitious it was, which if you're a filmmaker,
you don't want to hear that from your
producers.
It's like, that's not a good word. And there was some concerns when we turned in the script about whether we could, with the resources we had, whether we could execute it.
Yeah.
But ultimately they got behind us, and, we have like incredible producers on this. I mean, Roy Lee and Steven Schneider, are now involved with it. And, Roy's one of the biggest producers on Hollywood. And then Josh Goldblum, who's kind of the mastermind behind it. And
he's your boots on the ground producer.
He's the guy
every single day in the trenches. Yes.
And then also Shudder is amazing. We're just huge fans of Shudder as a streaming platform, and they were a pleasure to work with, and everything's been really great. But
what's cool about Shudder is I feel like because they have like a set structure of like what they can do with film as far as like budgets and constraints and stuff go, as long as you can fit within that, I feel like they're one of the few places right now, especially in genre, that you can kind of do anything. And I feel like they're open to so many distinct voices and stories, and just really are kind of a baseline for like where genre can go and what it can do, because they have so much freedom. Like you said, you're not going to necessarily find that at a studio unless you're like the guy that directed Barbarian and Weapons. Like then you're going to get to do some real. We are huge fans. He's very talented, but he's getting to do really fun, like bombastic stuff that I feel like as other filmmakers would never get to go into a studio and convince them to do. So I feel really lucky that we have people like that right now making genre films on a studio level, because it's going to allow the rest of the filmmakers out there to hopefully make bolder choices.
That's all we can hope for, I think, moving forward. I don't want to see the same movies over and over again, right? There does feel like there's a lot of ambitious swings in your segment as well, which I wanted to break down a little bit. You, I think it was published in a Variety article that you guys took inspiration from legendary makeup effects artist Rick Baker's Halloween parties, who I believe you are friends with as well, which is really cool. Yes. It's been described as an adult Goosebumps episode, and something that I really loved about the short especially is you essentially took like your spirit Halloween, the typical things you would expect in somebody's front yard during Halloween, and you made that evil. I mean, we see a green witch killing a kid on screen in this. That's so unique. Was that always the plan from the beginning, to do something that kind of hits on both ends of the spectrum in horror?
Yeah,
we wanted to do it on both ends. So we had a very specific pitch for this, and one of the reasons we did this particular story is because it's not our typical style. A lot of the things we work on have like heavy subject matter, or they're grounded, or they're have a little more dramatic thing. We're like, if we're going to do VHS, in the best VHS segments in our opinion, one I forgot, which a lot of people are comparing ours to, that was one of our favorites, is 10/31/98. And ours is literally 10/31/88, so it's just almost like there.
10 years.
And we feel like they work best when it's like a roller coaster ride. We watched all the VHSs, and so we're like, we want to challenge ourselves to do something that's unflinchingly fun, but also pushes some boundaries. So when we pitched them, we basically said we only want to get to do this if we'll only do this if we can do Peter Jackson directing a Goosebumps episode that's like a hard R.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the tone. And it's funny because when you pick a certain tone, and if you can nail it, people will have fun with it, and it's such a challenge. And so we wanted to. It was also an exercise for us, and like pushing us to make something that was outside of our comfort zone, which was like some more humor in it than maybe more normal.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a huge roster of things we've done together, so we don't really have a lot to compare it to. So it was really about us getting to show a side of ourselves that no one's seen yet. It's not like something that we couldn't do or wouldn't do. It was more like we haven't had an opportunity to do yet. So it was really fun to make something that was like wild and that was going to be a spectacle, and that would be like a really fun like popcorn kind of experience. But the big thing for me is like I knew that I wanted a green Halloween witch in it when we started working on it, and I knew I wanted her to eat kids, and that meant kids was gonna die. So that was really weird to go from making a film about protecting children and then killing them, and the next time we do something. But I feel like we did it in a way that's like not offensive somehow. Like it's just so like, woo, that's so crazy.
Well, there's a theme in the way the kids die, and I've only heard one person, and just like catching like reviews or podcasts on it, but I heard one person really cue into this about how the kids die. There's kind of a meta commentary, because when you're a kid and the things that you're afraid are going to kill you are so much different than when you're an adult.
Yeah.
And of course you're worried a witch is going to boil you in a pot. You know, you're worried that there's going to be about executioner strap you to an electric chair. So it's kind of like, what would a kid worry about dying when they come into a haunt maze, and how would that happen? And that's kind of like the fun of it, you know?
It's so ridiculous that it could never happen. And that's the other thing, is we did not want this grounded in reality at all. Like we wanted it to be completely fantastical.
Gonzo, crazy, just over the top.
Yeah. And that's what we did.
Well, and I love how you guys are especially able to use like very colorful visuals in a lot of the things I've seen you do. Grummy, another great example of that, but kind of in a different way. It's still very dark with the subject matter, but then you have these like glorious, colorful visuals. I really like that juxtaposition there, not trying to glaze you guys too hard.
No, I mean, like, honestly, that's what we do, though. Like, our entire style is about taking things that shouldn't be together, putting them together, things that people would say, like, that'll never work, you can't do that, and then we do it and we prove people wrong. And I think that's the fun thing about whatever we do, is it's always going to have the juxtaposition of something that's beautiful and disgusting, or, you know, fantastical and disturbing. Like, we're always going to have the dualities of things working against each other, because then they meld together so beautifully because you don't expect it.
Yeah, yes, 100%. I have to ask, I got to go back to Mr. Rick Baker for a second here. Knowing he's retired and he's on this set essentially for an acting gig, did he get involved with some of the practical effects used in this short at all?
No, but
he hung out in the department the whole time.
Yeah, he was very good about hanging in the department. I mean, that's like having Steven Spielberg over your shoulder while you're directing, like to have Rick in there. He's the greatest makeup artist of all time.
I'm sure they were sweating a little bit.
But it was great. It was just, it was like, Rick ultimately is like, you know, he's still just a kid, man.
He's such a good kid.
He loves making this stuff. He's still in his shop all day, every day. When he got retired, he didn't really retire from making monsters and all these things. So when he was there, you just see a kid in a candy shop, and he's just like looking at the witch and trying to figure it all out. And you know, he did something really sweet. We haven't talked about this in an interview, so we'll do it here. So we heard a bunch of screaming coming from the makeup.
Not like scary screaming,
like excited, like screaming. And we didn't know what was going on, so we went in there, and Rick had brought like a gallon like jug of something, right? And it was apparently this
really rare
glue that has been no longer, it's been discontinued. No one makes it anymore, but it's like the best adhesive material. And apparently like an ounce of it worth $1,000. And he brought a whole gallon of it, and he gave it to all the makeup artists, and they all like divvied it up in their stuff. And so they all like freaked out, and we just saw that. And that's who Rick is.
It's like him bringing like blocks of gold.
Yeah. But it was like makeup artist gold, you know, like
he's just such a generous person, and like he's so kind, and he literally came to set on, like, even when he didn't have to be there, just to hang out and spend time in the makeup department and hang out and spend time with us or art department and just talking to people. And he told us, he's like, this is what I thought making movies was going to be like. And it wasn't. And it's just funny. It's like, it's true. Like, if you get to make movies with your friends and you work with like such a small group like this, it is so different than when you're in a big studio movie. And Rick's worked on some of the most expensive, biggest films in history. So I'm sure that feels very different than like a tiny little VHS segment that we shoot in 5 days.
That's got to be a fun set. I can't even imagine. I've talked a little bit about this on the page, but my dream is I would almost rather have a VHS segment rather than a feature film.
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. It was a dream for us. Absolutely, it was.
Couldn't recommend it enough for filmmakers to get in there. If you ever get the opportunity to do VHS segment, like just be prepared to work your ass off.
I mean, it's hell.
It is like director boot camp in the best way, and I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Because you literally have to be so good at what you do to make a decent VHS segment.
Yeah, this is something we've said and it's something we've learned. You cannot make a good VHS segment by being a mediocre filmmaker. You can't. It is so hard. It's the closest thing to like the Roger Corman kind of pipeline that, you know, we've lost. And it really gets back to that. One of the things we loved about this is like, the only thing that like really offends us if we hear about our segments is like, oh, there's too much CGI. We didn't have any.
No.
Like this was shot like a 1980s Ghostbusters style kind of like puppets, like everything. And so like for us, it was kind of like
motion.
It was just being able to make a movie like how they used to make it. And then you have like Rick Baker there, and it just felt like this kind of like classic sense of like, you know, how much longer are we all going to get to do something just like this? So it was very special to us.
Oh my God, that's wonderful. So I do have to ask as well, because this is one of my favorite VHS segments. I just listed it in my top 10 of the whole franchise for me personally.
Thank you.
Of course, yeah. You guys are working on a new project coming up here called Cosmetic with James Wan and Ingrid Bisou. I'm curious, can you say anything about this flick, and does it come from any personal experience working in the beauty industry?
So I grew up working in the beauty industry, and that's my background before film. Definitely a lot of personal experience probably tied into this in ways. But I feel like there's going to be something for everybody when they watch this, even if you aren't adjacent to that world or have worked in that world. But what's exciting is it's an original IP. It's not pre-existing. We feel very lucky to be collaborating on this with James Wan and Ingrid Bisou, who I've known James for 20 years, and he is one of the nicest, kindest, most creative, humble, collaborative people you could ever dream to work with. Like, truly do not know anyone that could ever come close to how wonderful he is to work with. And I know we're very much in our infancy with our career, but just James really is the real deal, and in every way. And we've spent the last few years working on this project, and it's finally coming to a head of like being shot this coming year. We're really excited. All I can say about it is beyond what's on the IMDb page, which you can absolutely recite, is that it's very pink and it has lots of blood. It's definitely going to be an R rating. There's no other way around it. I don't know if you want to add anything. I don't think we can say much. There's a lot of secrecy.
It's just, we've been working, really hard on that one. And we have, a few other things. We love working with James, obviously, as she said. And it's just, we feel very fortunate. And, VHS was kind of a good boot camp for that as well. So we're happy that we could able to fit it in before we were going to shoot this. So, yeah.
So before getting a big feature on the map here, is there any other like pieces of your work that you like want more people to check out?
I mean, our Grummy short is definitely accessible for everybody online, and that's something we're really proud of because that definitely comes from a personal place. And, us being huge fans of Jim Henson, there's a lot of that, from our childhood that is in that film, and it would be a dream to work with them. We're big fans. And then obviously our VHS segment, because those are only two things that we've really done together so far that anybody can watch.
I mean, I have a bunch of more dramatic short films. Like I was mentored by Werner Herzog, and I shot a film with him. So some of that stuff we're going to probably release eventually, but that's not right now. The main thing that's online is Grummy and VHS. So we're very excited about those things.
Well, and one last final question to kind of wrap up our VHS talk, bringing it back full circle here. So a few directors have returned to this franchise and done more segments. Is this something that you would totally, you would want to do again?
So long as it fits in with our schedule, we totally will. Like, we have two things slated for this coming year that are features, and one that hasn't been announced yet. And if they ever came back to us and we had the space in our schedule to do it, we totally would. Like, we started working on our segment in January of this year. We shot and finished in July, at July 16th and went straight into post. So it is a stretched out like period of work. It's not everyday constant work, but it is continuous work.
Yeah.
So long as our schedule permits, 1,000%. If Josh is involved and Rory and Steven are involved, then we will absolutely be there.
Yeah. We can also say, we can't say much about it. We might not be done with Halloween yet.
No.
Oh,
all we can say.
Yeah.
Oh, very exciting stuff. I love this. Well, I want to thank you just one more time for coming on the page. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm just a huge VHS fan, and it's an honor to have you here.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Your coverage is great. We love your show. We think that you're going to keep on growing, and you just have a really beautiful love of horror, and that's awesome.
Your enthusiasm and passion and excitement is infectious, and it made us really excited to come on your show, because those are the kind of people that, you know, should be on these spaces talking about film and things that they love. I feel like we can kind of get lost in a world of negativity online. So it's always really exciting to talk to people that like love genre and are excited for it. And that's something we really enjoy about watching your show.
Really appreciate the kind words. And again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.